You ever watch a play and feel the stadium tilt? Not because of a genius route or perfect throw, but because a single yellow flag walked onto the field and rewrote the moment? That's the feeling that swallowed Sunday's Bills-Chiefs game. A tight, playoff caliber battle that plenty of fans will remember not for Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes, but for one call that turned a sack into a continued drive and turned Twitter into a jury. ESPN.com, it happened early, with the kind of timing that makes a whole afternoon feel different. Buffalo's defense appeared to have Patrick Mahomes to rights. A pressure, a hit, a pile forming around the quarterback, only for the officials to throw a flag for defensive holding that wiped the play away. The on-field sack that would have handed the Bills momentum vanished. Instead, Kansas City kept the ball and the chance to swing the scoreboard. Fans exploded, calling it phantom officiating and pointing at a pattern they say keeps favoring the Chiefs. TheSpun.com. Let's be blunt about what the flag does. It's not just 5 yards, it's the eraser on the momentum marker. A forced 3-and-out turns into a fresh set of downs. The emotional lift a defense gets from a big play, the crowd surge, the sideline energy, the reduced strain on your offense, evaporates in a heartbeat. In a one-score game against elite competition, those seconds and yards compound into real consequences. ESPN's box score shows this was a tightly contested game that swung back and forth. That single reversal is the kind of micro-event that can tilt the macro story. ESPN.com. Why did fans go nuclear? Because this wasn't an isolated feeling. It was a narrative that has been building for Buffalo fans for a long time. Clips from prior Bills-Chiefs matchups, including the AFC title game, resurfaced online showing disputed spots, questionable no calls, and moments where the crew adjusted the ball's position after a conference. People remember those, and when something similar happens again, the reaction isn't just anger. It's confirmation bias turned into outrage. Social timelines filled with "where's the flag" and "rigged," because once you see a pattern, every new instance looks like evidence. SI. But let's walk into the rulebook for a second. Defensive holding is, by definition, a player grabbing or impeding a receiver or blocker in a way that prevents a play from developing. The call is judgment heavy. Did the hand on the jersey materially affect the route or the play? Did it prevent separation? Referees train to see it in real time, but human eyes, broadcast angles, and the speed of the game create massive gray areas. Replay helps in some cases, but not all infractions are reviewable. A flag called and then picked up can leave more questions than answers. The subjectivity is baked into the job. No wonder fans see it as inconsistent, because it is. TheSpun.com. So what actually happened to the game? The Bills still won 28-21, and that's important. Buffalo found ways to respond later. A Joey Bosa-driven pass rush that repeatedly bothered Mahomes, and a late interception by rookie Maxwell Hairston that sealed the deal. The scoreboard gave Buffalo the victory, but the memory of the controversy stuck because, to many viewers, it looked like the refs had handed Kansas City a lifeline the Bills had earned to rip away. The dual reality, clean stat sheet and dirty feeling, is what fuels heated debates long after the final whistle. ESPN.com. Now the larger cost. Trust. The NFL sells drama, but it also sells fairness. When segments of the fan base lose faith in impartial officiating, the product shifts from sport to spectacle. Fans don't just complain about a single play. They complain because they suspect a recurring bias, whether real or imagined, favoring marquee teams or marquee players. That's poisonous because the league's legitimacy rests on the belief that the game is decided on merit, not markers. Viral videos, replay breakdowns, and partisan punditry amplify this distrust and make reconciliation harder. SI, what could fix this? Short-term, clearer communication. The league and referees can be more transparent about why a call stood or was picked up, and replay booths could use brief on-air explanations when a reversal changes possession. Long-term, better tech, more cameras, standardized angles for replays, even some automated enforcement in clear-cut cases could reduce subjectivity. None of this is easy. Football lives in messy, contact-heavy moments. But small improvements in clarity would go a long way toward calming the social media fires. And here's what players and coaches learn to live with. The game is part sport, part narrative management. Coaches must prepare teams to respond when calls go against them, make the next play, take the next snap, Strip the narrative of power by answering on the field. Winners don't whine, they adapt. The Bills did that, turning a hot moment into a triumph by leaning on fundamentals. Pressure the passer, win third downs, and make the opponent earn every yard. That's why they walked out of the stadium with the better record and, crucially, the better result. ESPN.com. But fans will keep arguing, highlights will keep circulating, and every future Chiefs-Bills moment will carry the weight of these two things: excellence on the field and suspicion off it. That's the real loss here. When the narrative surrounding a rivalry becomes as influential as the rivalry itself, every play is judged not only on technique, but on history. And history has memory. SI. So what should you take away if you're making a highlight reel or a hot take video? Start with the facts: the flag, the reversal, the final score. Then show the context: prior disputed calls, the viral clips that stoke the suspicion, and the in-game plays that actually decided the result. Let the viewer feel the outrage, then give them the tape and the rules to decide for themselves. That's honest storytelling. Final thought: sports runs on two currencies, the scoreboard and public trust. Buffalo bought the former on Sunday. A flag tried to steal a little of the latter. Wins heal a lot, but not everything. When a replay looks wrong and a stadium erupts, that moment becomes bigger than just football. It becomes a reminder that the game is played in human bodies, called by human eyes, and watched by millions who demand not just excitement, but fairness. The scoreboard will say 28-21 for Buffalo. The conversation will stay unsettled, and that, more than any flag, is why fans keep watching and arguing at the same time. ESPN.com. What if I told you a single yellow flag can sound like a starting pistol? The stadium holds its breath, the crowd splits between groans and cheers, and in the blink it feels like the whole game, maybe the whole season, has been nudged one way or another. That's what happened early in Bills Chiefs. A play looked like a sack, then a flag flew, and the internet caught fire. Picture it. Third down, a collapsing pocket, Joey Bosa bulldozing through, and Patrick Mahomes hits the turf. For a heartbeat, the highlight reels write a different headline. Then a flag. Holding on the Bills' secondary, the sack erased, a roar in the opposite direction. If you were watching in a bar or scrolling X, the reactions came swift and immediate. Disbelief, jokes, rage, conspiracy theories. Where's the flag? Flipped instantly to, there it is, of course. Fans love a narrative, and nothing feeds a narrative faster than a call that seems to change the story. Now let's zoom out. Sports have always lived in a space where spectacle meets rules. But watchers don't just watch plays, they watch perceived fairness. When calls seem to help one team repeatedly, suspicion grows until it's a muscle memory. Chiefs get help, Chiefs get luck. It's not just about the single penalty anymore. It's about years of micro moments stacking into a worldview that becomes harder to shake. Fans don't always ask for proof, they ask for patterns, and patterns, true or not, become proof in groupthink.